Welcome to an overview of how business analysis works, according to Plantain. Business analysis exists to help enterprises change in a way that delivers value to stakeholders. This presentation integrates the latest thinking on best practices in business analysis. Let's start by defining three core terms. Business architecture represents the foundation of business analysis. Business architects create a blueprint to model the structure and behavior of one or more enterprises. An enterprise is a system of organizations along with solutions they employ to pursue common goals. The way enterprises develop those solutions is through change initiatives. Change initiatives involve a series of actions taken to implement a transformation. That transformation can take the form of strategic planning, policy realignment, process improvement, and product development. Business architecture begins by modeling the structure of what Plantain calls entities. Entities include organizations and their business units. Outside entities include groups such as distributors, retailers, customers, and vendors, along with institutions such as regulators and universities. And of course, entities cannot function without their people. Each entity relies on information relevant to its situation in order to make decisions. Plantain calls that information considerations. Considerations fall into four groups: external drivers such as risks, events, and competition, internal drivers such as needs, goals, and objectives, governance such as guidelines, policies, and rules, and resources such as assets, capabilities, and experience. Business architects model considerations into causal trees that explain their underlying reasoning. Related considerations are assembled to form the scope of an enterprise. Once the enterprise scope is known, entities that share those considerations are included, and along with entities come their people. It's those people who prioritize and filter enterprise considerations to form the solution scope of one or more change initiatives. A change initiative has 6 stages: planning, strategy analysis, conditions, solution options and designs, implementation and testing, and evaluations and reflections. But these stages can't proceed without the heart of an initiative: stakeholders. Depending on the method, either the initiative sponsor invites people to join the planning team, or the team self-organizes. If invited, they negotiate what role to play, stages to take part in, responsibilities to hold, and expectations to accept. Now the change initiative can commence. Before exploring the stages, I want to stress that business analysis is meant to be flexible. Business analysis supports a variety of methods, including variants of Agile, Waterfall, or a blend of the two. Also, a change initiative is not a linear process, and not all initiatives require all steps discussed here. On occasion, you may need to jump between stages and around steps as the situation requires. The first step in planning is determining the approach. In addition to choosing the method, a sequence of steps is established along with techniques necessary to conduct those steps. How decisions are made and how changes are implemented with regard to responsibility and authority can be clarified in a governance document, and/or the team can develop a vision statement. The team recruits additional stakeholders as needed. The approach is scheduled with a now expanded team. The team verifies the solution scope and updates considerations. Considerations are converted into factors and metrics, which will serve as the foundation for the business case as well as evaluation criteria for the stages strategy analysis and evaluation. For strategy analysis, a baseline must first be established. The factors are analyzed in a current state assessment. Metrics are also collected at this time. From the results, assertions are made about the factors. Assertions are assumptions that have the most bearing on the analysis and represent differing viewpoints. Assertions are then validated. A root cause analysis of the assertions is conducted and validated. With a thorough understanding of the current state, targets for the desired future state are determined using the same factors and metrics. Objectives are assigned to factors, and a summary of the desired future state clarifies the goal. Gap analysis is used to compare the desired future state with the current state. A risk assessment is conducted and mitigation plans are developed and validated. Change strategies are developed and tested against the same factors and metrics to determine their relative effectiveness. Adopting a change strategy further refines the solution scope and provides the final material needed for the business case. Once a change strategy is adopted, it's time to develop conditions, which is the umbrella term Plantain uses to refer to user stories, epics, features, requirements, and use cases. Complex and abstract conditions are broken down and arranged into more manageable ones and vice versa. Conditions are then verified and prioritized. Conditions are traced back to factors with their corresponding objectives and considerations in order to provide context. If no link is found, the condition is outside the scope and either it is rejected or the scope is expanded. Acceptance criteria are developed in the form of test cases. Conditions often have dependencies on other conditions, which are identified and verified. Where conditions describe the who, what, when, where, and why of a collection of needs, solution options describe different possibilities for how you could satisfy those conditions. Complex and abstract solution options are broken down into their various components and features. They are then traced back to their corresponding conditions. If no condition, then the option is outside the solution scope and is either rejected or the scope expanded. Designs that illustrate solution options can be included. A cost-benefit analysis is conducted to determine relative potential value. Then a solution package is finalized and a backlog established upon acceptance. It's time to build the solution. A development cycle is created and populated with solution elements from the backlog. How populated the cycle depends on the method. Cycles, otherwise known as iterations or sprints, can be assembled into a roadmap. Key cycles are designated for release. Stakeholders are assigned elements or self-select elements. The mix of elements for a successful development cycle is verified and locked in. Tasks are logged as the cycle is implemented. Testers verify that solution elements meet the acceptance criteria outlined in conditions. After completing a cycle, depending on the method, burn charts can be reviewed to determine if the implementation is on track, and a retrospective can be conducted. If the cycle represents the completion of a change initiative, then the same factors and metrics used in strategy analysis are used to evaluate the result. That way, how the result compares to the desired future state and change strategy can be studied. A peer review can evaluate how stakeholders performed against their expectations. Valuable lessons are captured for future change initiatives. And now on to the next cycle or change initiative. Studies show that between 60 and 70% of change initiatives fail to meet their objectives. While no approach can guarantee success, utilizing the latest best practices in business analysis can shift the odds in your favor. Thank you for your interest in learning about business analysis. I hope this information proved useful. If you like what you've seen and want to put it into practice, then Plantain may be just the right solution for you. Consider signing up for Plantain's free 30-day trial.